Alrighty guys, now all the signs point towards Microsoft eventually exiting the console business. As we see, Xbox sales continue to struggle. And I found this article online. It says, I'll leave a link to it in the description below, but it says, could Xbox become the next Dreamcast? Now anybody that remembers the Sega Dreamcast back in the day, Sega had a couple pretty decent systems there. We had the Sega Genesis, and then when the Dreamcast, we had the Sega Saturn and a few other things. We had a bunch of stuff from Sega there. But then the Dreamcast came out, and that pretty much finished off Sega. Now the thing with Xbox, of course, Xbox has the backing of Microsoft. So of course, it's not going to go bankrupt. It's just a matter if they want to keep losing money. That's the way Xbox sees it. It's not like Sega's situation in a way, because they're not going to go totally bankrupt just by the Xbox not doing anything, which is not doing anything right now. I think what we're going to see, people, I think Microsoft, maybe it be this console or the next, they may be like, we just can't do this no more. Microsoft will be like, we're just losing money. Every time we do this, we're losing a fortune on hardware. I think what we're going to see is we're going to see Microsoft eventually say that's enough. We just can't keep losing money gaming. And they've done it for over 20 years, I think they've lost money. They've not made anything on any system. Even though the Xbox 360 did well, they still lost money on the Xbox 360 because of the red ring of death. And they never have made money on any system. So I think what we're going to see, though, is we're going to see Game Pass just become like a PC and a computer thing. I know it's never going to be on Sony's system. You can forget that. I just don't see that happening. But who knows? Who knows? I don't know if I'll think we'll ever see it on Switch or Nintendo's, whatever Nintendo's system is at the time. So I look at Microsoft becoming a publisher. That's what I look at. That's what I see. Whenever they have games come out, if they ever do, I mean, they bought all these studios up, and we just don't see anything from it. So eventually they'll become a studio like Sega. That's to me, that's going to be Microsoft's eventual future, just because they cannot compete with Sony and Nintendo. They just have it. They just got it figured out. Nintendo and Sony has it figured out.
Just in time.
Even when Nintendo was struggling making consoles, they had the Game Boy, the DS, the DSi, the 3DS. They had all that. They had the handheld market locked up. They were still making money. They weren't losing money. I know people look at all their console failures after we had the Wii do well, then the Wii U failed. Now the Switch is doing unbelievably. So Nintendo, they've had, the NES, Super NES, those did great. The GameCube was okay, and the N64, I guess the N64 came, it flopped, in the GameCube, I guess it kind of flopped too, didn't it? Then the Wii came out, it did well, the Wii U came out, it flopped, and now the Switch is dominated. So, Sony's never had a misfire, really. The PlayStation 3, even though it did, in a way you can say it did fail Sony, it still sold more systems than Microsoft. So Sony, they've had, we'll just say the PlayStation 3 failed, but the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 4, they all succeeded. And we're currently seeing what's going to happen with the games eventually come out on the PlayStation 5. But right now, if you look at the sales, Sony's destroyed Microsoft more than 2-1 in sales. Then you have the Nintendo Switch, which is a 7-year-old system, outselling an Xbox. So think about that. But really, in order for Microsoft to succeed, they have to somehow figure out how to get some games that people want to play. That's what they really have to do. I think Microsoft should just become a publisher and focus all their energy on games. They bought up enough studios. They can make money from the Call of Duty games. They did it with Minecraft. They bought Minecraft and put it on every system. They're just going to have to do that eventually. They'll have to give up and just say, well, let's just make games. Try to make games. I don't know why it's so hard for them to do that. It seems like other than Gears of War, And Halo, they've never really succeeded. And the Gears of War games are some of my favorite games of all time to play. I bought an Xbox just for the Gears of War games. That's why I got the Xbox. I was like, I want to play the Gears of War games. And I never was a huge Halo fan. But I know Halo's huge also, back when it was good. And now Halo and Gears of War, both of those franchises look like they're pretty much dead in the water, if you really look at it. So, that's the way I see Microsoft's future. I think eventually they're going to have to say, we've had enough. Now, there is a chance they can turn it around. I believe they're going to go one more generation and give it a good shot. And I think they're going to put out the handheld Xbox and another system. I think they'll go one more generation. That's pretty much been confirmed. But they can't afford just to keep losing money. I mean, they can, but if you're running a company, and let's say your company makes $100 billion a year, you're making a huge profit, whatever Microsoft makes. Everything's making money, but this one thing here, the game systems. We're losing $4 or $5 billion a year on this. Even though we're making a lot of money, we still could have these $2 or $3 billion or more dollars, you know. I know you're thinking, well, you made all that money, it doesn't really matter, but every time, every quarter, every year, you see a loss. It's like you're just paying people to work for you and they're not producing any revenue. Would you do that in a business? Would you keep paying people that work for you, but you keep losing money on them? They just keep losing money in that division. Why would you keep supporting it? And that's the way I see it with Xbox. I think they're just going to have to be like, this is enough. We can't do this no more. So anyway, that's my thoughts on this. We'll see what happens. Xbox, they just can't sell nothing right now. That's just what it comes down to. So anyway, guys, I'll leave a link to the full article below. You can read it. And we'll see. There is hope for Microsoft. There's always hope. I'm hoping the Indiana Jones game is very good. Something like that could help kickstart your system. I mean, I'm hoping it is. That's one game I'm really looking forward to playing on Xbox, is the new Indiana Jones. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much it. That's my thoughts on this. Let me know how you feel about it. And as always, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Toodles!